The prosecutor in the case, I will call it our case, is a thug. I've named him Deranged Jack Smith. He does political hit jobs. He's been known to viciously arrest a certain governor. You know the governor, Bob McDonnell of Virginia, and absolutely ruined his life and the life of his family. All these wonderful family members, I knew them, only to have the case overturned 8-0 by the Supreme Court. He destroyed that man and he destroyed that family.
All right, and joining us now is that man you just heard Trump bringing up in his speech last night, former Virginia Governor Bob McDonnell. Thank you so much, Governor, for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Governor.
Yeah, John, appreciate it.
You know, you're in your post-Jack Smith chapter, so maybe at one point it was destroying your life, but we know we have you on quite a bit in the program to talk about where things stand. And I wanted to have you on today because, you know, you were personally someone who's gone through a case, convicted, as we just heard, overturned by the Supreme Court unanimously. Describe what your experience was with Jack Smith. We heard he was glaring at Trump yesterday in the courtroom. I'm not sure you would call him a thug as well, but who is this man in your perspective?
Well, first, I appreciate the president's support when he was campaigning. He was very supportive of me, and obviously continues to be with his kind remarks today. I would say that though they didn't destroy my life. You know, people make mistakes in the justice system. It's the best in the world, but it's not perfect. And God has blessed me with redemption and resurrection after that time, Bianca. And I'm on Newsmax TV. So you're right. I'm doing fine. I think the problem with Mr. Smith, look, he's a Harvard-educated guy, had a distinguished record early on in his career with the DOJ. But, you know, when he was head for 5 years with the Justice Department Public Integrity Section, the lead guy there, it was not only my case, but it was John Edwards. It was the Lois Lerner investigation of conservatives. It was Senator Menendez. I mean, he had a lot of high-profile people where I think this was his era. I think he's overzealous and overaggressive and willing to extend the law to the point to get a win. And that's absolutely wrong. The rule for a federal prosecutor under the legal ethics opinions rules are to seek truth and justice, not merely to convict. And I think that's maybe where Mr. Smith has gone wrong. He'd rather win than get it right, and he pushes the law.
I mean, that's what, you know, Chief Justice John Roberts emphasized in your case, that there are, you know, risks when you allow prosecutors to decide for themselves what type of conduct crossed the line. I do want to get your reaction to something Congressman Matt Gaetz is calling to attention. He sent a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland citing that the prosecutors on Jack Smith's team, a woman by the name of Karen Gilbert, donated to Joe Biden. Federal Election Commission records also show that Gilbert has donated more than $2,000 to former campaigns of President Biden, former President Barack Obama. So it may not just be Jack Smith that Trump is contending with, but the whole prosecutorial team raises so many questions, Governor.
Well, does David Harbaugh is the lead guy now in this case that Smith brought back. He was literally in the courtroom prosecuting the case with a local U.S. attorney. So it's the same gang, if you will, back together. You know, a special prosecutor has got to be impartial. They've got to be unbiased. They've got to check the politics at the door, but more importantly, they've got to match up the evidence that they think they've got with what the law says, not stretch the law to what they want it to be. As you took the words out of my mouth. John Roberts said the federal government, led by Jack Smith, has a boundless interpretation of the federal law that would have innocent people be convicted of bribery. That's exactly why they overturned the case 8-0 with Democrat and Republican justices working together. So that's my concern in this case, is a desire to win with a high-profile political figure in the middle of the campaign, maybe being more of a motivation than getting the law right.
And Governor, I just wanted to jump in with a real quick question for you. You heard former President Trump refer to Jack Smith as a thug, as deranged. Is that a smart legal strategy to really kind of push and keep that pressure on the prosecution, or do you think that could backfire?
It's up to the makeup of the jury, John. You know, he's ultimately the decision will, in all likelihood, be 12 citizens that have to be unanimous. And there's going to be an awful lot of work by both sides to pick a jury they think will be favorable. But how will they react to you basically demonizing the prosecutor? Really depends on the makeup of those people. But if the evidence that he has in that indictment is actually proven, I think there's criminal culpability. But I don't know if they've got the facts, and I couldn't trust the press to actually get the facts right at this.
So many variables, but we certainly appreciate your time, Governor Bob McDonnell, with your insight on Jack Smith and your experience with him. Thank you so much. We'll hope to see you back here real soon.
Yeah, thanks, Governor. Appreciate your
Thanks
thoughts.
for having me on. Really appreciate it.